Welcome to the National Hispanic Cultural Center's Bosque Gallery. This is an outdoor exhibition space that first opened on October 23, 2020, as a result of COVID-19. When the pandemic closed our cultural center for many months, we took our 20th anniversary exhibit outside. This open-air gallery consists of panels mounted on 730 feet of fencing along the western border of our 20-acre campus. The panels face the beautiful Paseo del Bosque Trail, a multi-use path along the Rio Grande in Albuquerque, New Mexico, USA. The National Hispanic Cultural Center is dedicated to the preservation, promotion, and advancement of Hispanic culture, arts, and humanities. In celebration of our 20th anniversary in 2020, we present Mira, Nuestra Arquitectura, an architectural journey, a history of the National Hispanic Cultural Center as told through its architecture. I am Ana Uremovich, archivist for the National Hispanic Cultural Center and curator of this special exhibit. I am happy to walk you through the center's past, present, and future. Created and presented by the History and Literary Arts program, the exhibit consists of text, sketch drawings, blueprints, maps, and photographs exploring Hispanic, Latinx culture and heritage as expressed through the buildings and landscape of the center. Here you will see the original design concept for the center's campus, the subsequent redesign, as well as the challenges and triumphs in building this prominent institution whose doors opened in 2000. From groundbreaking to new construction, the mission of the National Hispanic Cultural Center is expressed through its buildings and landscape. The architecture of the National Hispanic Cultural Center not only evokes the center's mission, but reminds us to embrace culture, respect our complex past, and celebrate the hopes and dreams of future generations. Our buildings convey a sense of people and place, an enduring respect for the grace of the land and the architectural heritage of the Americas. Many years ago, Edward Lujan, one of the center's founders, eloquently stated, "As I walk through the site upon which a Hispanic cultural center will be built, I think about the generations of young people who will learn to understand and appreciate Hispanic arts and humanities as a vital part of America's multicultural heritage. So too, we will walk the exhibit and learn to understand and appreciate this vital representation of a multicultural heritage." The first section of the exhibit depicts the years 1993 to 1995 and focuses on the center as proposed, designed, and developed by input from community organizations, government agencies, and businesses. Although there were many people involved with the concept and construction of the center, it was through the perseverance of the Hispanic Cultural Foundation, the leadership of the Hispanic Cultural Division of the New Mexico Office of Cultural Affairs, and the expertise of Antoine Predoc's architectural firm that the center unfolded from vision to reality. This was the center's initial concept design, as proposed by Antoine Predoc and his associate Pedro Marquez. As you can see, it was meant from the beginning to be in harmony with the surrounding landscape of the high desert of the United States Southwest. Many of the buildings are recognizable as part of the existing National Hispanic Cultural Center campus. Take a moment to read the names of the buildings. And if you have visited our campus recently, think about what these buildings look like now. Other structures you see were never built due to funding or space constraints. Let's take another moment to imagine what it would have been like if they had been built. Imagine the amphitheater, the sporting arena. In a perfect world. As this section of the exhibit concludes, a master plan of the center has been developed with a vision of Phase 1 and Phase 2 construction. Notice how the plans are starting to resemble what the campus looks like now. But note the placement of the parking lot, as well as the visual and performing arts buildings. What was meant to be on the north side of the campus was flipped to the south side to accommodate the Adela Martinez property, residential homes that determined the configuration of buildings that were ultimately built. The second of three exhibit sections recalls the challenges and changes in the design and construction of the center. It spans 1995 through to the groundbreaking in 1999. It is during this time that the Adela Martinez property dispute was resolved, greatly impacting the center's future. The Martinez family insisted on keeping their homes on the property, and so the center's campus was redesigned to accommodate them. The resolution opened a clear path for Phase 1 construction, beginning with the renovation of the historic Works Progress Administration Adobe Schoolhouse, the future home of the History and Literary Arts program, and the new construction of the Visual Arts building. Also by the end of the decade, the center was renamed for the first but not the last time. It went from the New Mexico Hispanic Cultural Center to the National Hispanic Cultural Center of New Mexico. Originally, the architectural firm proposed 4 alternate campus designs to accommodate the presence of the Martinez property. Only this version allowed for a cohesive campus with the private property between the campus and the parking lot. As you look at the bird's eye view of the center on the left-hand side of the panel, the campus is taking shape as we know it today, minus the amphitheater, a much anticipated structure that in time became unworkable. As we continue on this architectural journey, we will explore the first 2 buildings completed during Phase 1 construction. They were meant to be and are the embodiment of our history and literary arts and the visual arts programs. The center was built in 3 phases, with the buildings expressing a contemporary interpretation of United States Southwest, Latin American, and Iberian Peninsula architecture. The History and Literary Arts building, which originally was named Research and Literary Arts, is the only original structure incorporated into the center's campus design. The former elementary schools, the San Jose West, and then renamed Riverview, were originally meant to house the center's administrative offices. By the late 1990s, the new construction plans for the History and Literary Arts program building became unworkable. In this panel, you can see the first floor plan. The building now contains the library archives, a ballroom, and a restaurant opening onto the courtyard. The Visual Arts building was the first newly designed construction on the center's campus. It also underwent changes by the time of construction. Gone were the art studio and gift shop wing and the auditorium that you see in this rendering. Of note, the unbuilt auditorium was eventually built as the Wells Fargo Theater, with a few modifications. It was a standalone building until the designs and construction of the Performing Arts Center followed a few years later. The Visual Arts building was named the Intel Center for Technology and Visual Arts upon completion. It houses our Fine Arts Museum with 4 art exhibit galleries, a sculpture courtyard, and administrative offices on the 2nd floor. The exterior provides seating for outdoor events on the pyramid steps, a nod to the unbuilt amphitheater. With this 3rd and final section, we move into the center's 20th anniversary era, 2000 through 2020. It is a time of Phase 2 construction, where the mission of the center continues to grow in wood, glass, stone, and stucco. The center was officially opened in October 2000, and shortly thereafter was renamed, for the final time, to the National Hispanic Cultural Center. The Performing Arts building was emerging, and the El Gran Torreón was completed, with the artist Federico Vigel's monumental Buen Fresco Mundos de Mestizaje gracing its interior. The end of the first decade brought revised plans for Phase 3 construction, with the amphitheater and international center, which was meant for the open space behind the Torreón, no longer feasible. The space originally allotted to the amphitheater would be repurposed for an education building. During this phase of construction and after additional fundraising, the Performing Arts Building would grow to envelop the Wells Fargo Auditorium and become the Roy E. Disney Center for Performing Arts. It made possible the presentation and production of traditional and contemporary theatrical, film, musical, dance, and multidisciplinary performances and lectures, all in a singular building. Upon opening in September of 2004, the complex included 3 theaters, numerous dressing rooms, generously sized rehearsal areas, and staff offices. The construction and design of the education building was the outcome of a decision not to build an amphitheater, therefore freeing up land, and due to lack of funding to build the International Center. An educational center was originally meant to be part of the International Building, to be erected along 4th Street on the east side of the campus. The combined International Education Complex was to house not only educational spaces, but also music, performance, and artist studios, as well as office space and the Instituto Cervantes. At least 2 other versions of the building were considered prior to the final 2007 design, which you can see in the subsequent education panel in this exhibit. By 2009, the center's education program was housed in the Pete V. Dominici Education Building. It would contain multi-purpose spaces for classrooms, lectures, exhibitions, and workshops, as well as a large ballroom and conference area. Although the Culinary Institute, a component of the original campus design, was never built, it was partially incorporated as a demonstration kitchen in the final design at the north end of the education building. The south end of the building would accommodate the center's partner, the Cervantes Institute Spanish Language and Resource Center. The center's buildings and structures, whether built or only conceived, were meant to be nested amongst the landscape features and symbolic structures. The water fountain, a canoa, the Cuesta del Cielo sculpture, the Barbara Richardson Plazuela Garden, the Warriors' Repose sculpture in the Hispanic Veterans Memorial Garden, and the Virginia and Edward Lujan Plaza Mayor all serve either as homages to the past, places of respite and reflection in the present, or spaces that are timeless and enduring. A visitor center was always part of the center's campus design. It was also originally meant to be part of the Torreon space. As early as 2003, the Torreon was also envisioned as a reception building. These plans were put aside as buildings meant to house the center's programs needed additional funding and completion. Designs for a welcome center began again in earnest in 2014. Later in the decade, funding was secured and the building concept underwent a redesign. The New Mexico Mutual Welcome Center is now almost complete and will become the main entrance to the campus. It will contain an information center, a box office, and a small exhibit space for the Mundos de Mestizaje fresco. In early 2021, the 1,700 square foot building will be our gateway to the National Hispanic Cultures Campus and its many events and programs. As the National Hispanic Cultural Center enters another decade, we are gratified to see our mission expressed through the campus architecture. These buildings and structures make it possible to communicate Hispanic Latino culture and heritage through programs, exhibitions, and performances. Additionally, the landscaping of the campus, with plazas, gardens, and fountains, integrates the architecture and invites visitors into a space that encourages discovery, reflection, learning, and dreams. This mission-driven journey, expressed here in physical form, continues our quest to be one of the most significant and vibrant cultural institutions with local, regional, national, and international reach. Thank you for joining me on this architectural journey. I hope you will visit the Bosque Gallery and the Mira Nuestra Arquitectura in person, while it remains on display through the spring of 2021. And of course, you can always come back to this on-demand virtual tour. I'd like to thank the staff of the History and Literary Arts program for its support in creating this exhibit, the staff of the Visual Arts program for assistance with installation, and the State of New Mexico Department of Cultural Affairs. Visit the National Hispanic Cultural Center online at www.nhccnm.com to learn more about the work of the National Hispanic Cultural Center.